Okay, let's go.
Hey guys, and welcome to week two of my video log just for my progress this year, 2026, and going along with me. We'll make this one short and sweet, but just kind of for reference, the day that I check in is on the 13th, but just for consistency's sake, I always do my pictures and submit that weight as well as my check-in weight on the day of check-in the next Tuesday. So really comparing Friday to Friday. And one reason we do that is because we always make things fit with lifestyle, right? And Tim and I go out for date night on Saturday night, or we'll cook something special at home and then just do something. And there's just a lot of variabilities that sometimes can take your body a couple of days to kind of auto correct from. And we just did not want that to be a variable. So just full transparency, why we take my photos and also submit that weight. I weigh every single morning. Most of the time, I remember to put it down and track it. I actually like doing it daily. I'm not somebody that struggles with that. So we do have clients that are in that camp that they really struggle with the scale. So we don't require that. But just to kind of let you know, and it's helpful this week to know that just because of the changes. So week to week, Friday to Friday, I was down like a pound and a half. But then when you come to Tuesday, I was up about another pound. But the night before, I had absolutely terrible sleep. I have, I think, some like major like nerve issues going on. I had been up since 2 o'clock in the morning and had not been able to sleep. I was also on like day 25 of my cycle. So definitely at that point where your body starts holding some water weight retention, body just under stress. And also, just getting back into weight room and stuff like that. So it could be a little bit of, just carryover inflammation from that. So there were no adjustments made based on that, but because of some other things that I put in my check-in, and this is where it's really important to be able to communicate like with your coach, things like this is I was just like, hey, I'm like hungry throughout the day, especially on like my lower carb day a lot. And it would just be, and then when I get to the evening time, I had like two back-to-back meals that are decently heavy on carbs. And part of the reason, we'll often do that is so that it helps with your sleep at night and things of that nature. But anyway, so because of that feedback, it's important taken into account. And so adjustments this week, which we'll post over here, do show where there was quite a few changes made earlier in the day to the early meals. Like I know breakfast, meal one, and either two or three from a carb standpoint. And then also early in the day on my non-training day, we also made some adjustments there. That way we could take into account the hunger, but also fueling my day, but also still being able to support a good like sleep habit and sleep schedule when it comes to that. Felt like there was something else. I always try to keep my notes up so I don't forget because I know just as soon as I don't, I'll forget something that was like really, really important that day. But we just like to be really transparent, especially with women, because I know a lot of times, especially if you do focus on the scale too much and you do see like a 1 pound like weight jump, especially when it took you like a week and a half to like pull down, right? Like a pound and a half, and then like 3 days later, then it's up a pound. You need to keep things like your cycle, bad sleep, inflammation of different sorts, like take that into account. Also, were you getting your steps and your cardio in? Were you not? Did you overeat? How much did you overeat? So there's just so many factors that can go into that. I've still continued this week to measure my salt with every meal and do the same with like water, just so that's not a variable, so that we can just really kind of address that. I don't feel as like bloated this week, even though I am closer to my cycle. So I do think us, making a few of those shifts over the last 2 weeks has definitely been helpful to support in that. And I can go ahead and tell you because this is Thursday. So next week's will be fun, and I'll just wait till Thursday to tease you what this week has looked like. And that was just since the check-in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But we'll cover that. I'll be interested to see what tomorrow looks like, and then next Tuesday on that check-in. I get to learn along with you guys, which is always fun. And this is something where, it's always funny to me when people are like, "Oh, I know what to do. I just need to do it." And it's like, But do you really like we're coaches and we still need somebody from the outside to, help get us out of our own head sometimes because sometimes like it's easier for somebody else to look at it from back here and like where you've come and like things like, oh, well, where are you at in your cycle? Or, oh, did you have like a really stressful day at work, at home? Your kids had like a major something go on. Maybe your kid was in a wreck. Well, you're going to be kind of stressed from that, right? And all of those things can definitely play into. I will say that I did a better job this week of enjoying my meals. So just changing up the way that I was seasoning them, even preparation, like mixing some things together. I think I swapped out some proteins on a couple of meals. Oh, and another point, I knew there was something else with what we did. What you'll also see, and you've probably also seen this, but you didn't see the week before, I don't think. But what you'll see when we post over on the side, what the meal plan change was to is before, say for breakfast, we had cream of rice in there. Well, that's a quick digesting carbohydrate. So the reason that we switched it to potatoes is because it's slower digesting. So it's also going to keep me full for longer. So a lot of times it is super helpful just to understand from a satiety standpoint and a digestion standpoint, et cetera. If it's right before you're working out or something, you might want them to, digest a little bit faster. But taking all that into account, hope is pretty helpful for you guys. And we appreciate you being on for yet another week of my blog.